Okay, let me add Annie. Let me send this. Perfect. So just gonna get Annie added on here and get my hello. There we go.
Why are you saying hello?
Hi.
How are you? It's been
I'm
a while.
fantastic. I know. I feel like I haven't seen you. It's been over probably over a year in person, easily.
Right?
And
Yeah,
it's like
how is
you're so close too. Like you're right there. I feel like I should just be able to like Annie, I'm coming over. But so how are you?
I am good. I am good. Really good.
Good. So I'm just gonna give one quick second, and then probably get my hair tie ready here because I start sweating like once all the energy starts moving through.
It's
So
already moving through.
my name is Mio for anyone that's jumping on that doesn't know who I am, and this is Annie, a magical superhuman person. Yes, and I actually there's Molly.
Maui.
I'm so glad that Molly jumped on because Molly's actually the reason why I know you. She was like, "Do you want to come to my friend's house and come to this thing with me?" And I was like, "Sure." So, really excited to have you on. So, I put myself up for a challenge in March where I had a bunch of live events, but then I was trying to go live every day in March on Instagram just to try different topics. And so on Friday nights, we do Fridays with Friends. And that's where I like to highlight the amazing people that are in my life that have their own businesses, that have their own purpose, they have vision for what they want in their life. And so that's why I just like, I want to call you out, hear about, and introduce you to like my friends and my followers, my people, because there's a lot of people that have never even really heard of quantum healing or some people that are just learning about energy healing in general. And so, yeah, and I forgot the way all the synchronicities came up, but I was like, oh, yeah, somebody knew somebody who knew somebody. And they're like, do you know Annie? And I'm like, yeah, I think this is a message from the universe saying, like, I need to message her and get her on. So I really thank you for, being here with your time and all of that. So, yay.
Fun time.
Yes. So how would you explain what you do to everybody?
I I play with human energy very much like an IT technician operates with a computer system. I see people as human computer systems. So operating system of the consciousness, the hardware of the brain and the body, the electrical power cord of the spirit in mind, body, spirit. And I just have these really interesting gifts that I call tools in my toolbox that help me impact the world in a greater way by showing people how to heal themselves and empower themselves.
That's beautiful. And then, so do you do everything virtually or are you in person or how does a session, so what goes down exactly?
So if I could have 100% virtual, I would, because then I wouldn't have to clean my house. But that's not always other people's preference. I am 99% virtual with clients all over the world. And I think I counted it was like 7 time zones I'm currently covering.
That's beautiful. I am so proud of you because it's just like, we don't need restrictions. Time doesn't matter. Jump on.
Yeah.
Here's the link. Let's connect. And then, okay, so what's your process? Like, do you have a standard process that you'll take them through? Is it meditation type, or do you just like tune in and you can like start seeing information about people?
If I'm doing the work, it's like right now I could open your energy up. Like in we first connected on Clubhouse, so I was doing it through an audio only app. I couldn't see people. I didn't know what they look like sometimes. All I had was their voice. I can just open them up because a computer's a computer. It doesn't matter. As long as I have the IP address, it doesn't matter what casing it has.
Yep.
It's still traceable. So I can do that. But if I'm showing you how to do the work, it's a little bit different. It's a
That's
little bit slower.
No, that makes sense. And even like I do mediumship and different intuitive type readings. And so I always say that too, where I'm like, it's like typing in Google, you know, the information, all of the information that exists is already out here. It's just like, oh, what website do I need to jump on to get the information that I need? But there was something interesting that I learned at your house during that event. And we went through a meditation and we all built our own little like quantum place that we met at. And I had never like done a structure like that before. And that was hugely helpful because I remember each of us had like a portion in or around the house or the structure of like, oh, I went to the library or I went to this or like I built this and I was there doing this. And it was just really fun to like first play in the quantum field. Second, to know that you even can play in a quantum field. And so now I always think of you when I am trying to find specific information for myself or for clients, because then I'll go into my like university or the room with the computers or the room that has the information that I need. And it's like there. um, so that I wanted to thank you for that little tidbit of information for how you guys like structured all of that day. Um, what else was I gonna say? So how like do you work with clients like is it a one-time thing or are you ongoing or how does that go work exactly?
All of the above. I, if it's advanced work, if it's beginner sessions, I have clients. They've been coming to me since 2019 with like the quantum coaching because they're a little bit more, I would say, religious, and they want to just put one foot in the water, but not really swim in the deep end. So they're my beginner folks, and then my advanced folks, they have to commit to 6 hours. So whether it's 6 1-hour sessions for my individuals that have a lot of mental challenges, like dissociative identity disorder or PTSD, we go in smaller doses. For everyone else, it's 3 sessions of 2 hours each. And then they dive deep, and then they step back. They have to step back, kind of practice, exercise, and then come back in for sessions when they're ready to elevate again. So it's not just taking on, and overwhelming. It's
Yeah.
taking it, go practice with it, get comfortable with it, start to master it, and then come back in to learn the next steps with it.
And then do you see like everybody has various ways of like how quickly they can adapt and make a decision and then turn around and apply it versus someone who might like it takes a lot slower digestion or application process on that or
And even between sessions, some people will do a session and I can feel their system is ready a week later. And then other times it's like, no, they need 5 weeks to digest this.
so okay. When you are talking about how you see things like the computer system and everything, are you clear? Is it more like the visuals, like in third eye type stuff? Like, are you just seeing stuff inside your mind's eye, or how are you getting your information? Like when you're being able to tune uh, in your own way of
I feel first, then I know, then I see, then I hear. And I have all four.
beautiful. And then, how did you get into all of this, though? Like, how, dude?
I deployed. It was a messy deployment. I came back injured. Had to figure it out. Heard voices on my deployment. And you can't really tell chaplains or mental health providers or your leadership who are already kind of like toxic to begin with, like, hey, this is going on. I'm not really sure what this is supposed to look like.
Yeah, exactly. They'll be like, and she's crazy. Oh
Here to Germany.
my gosh. Um, well, I love that. So you're busier on TikTok these days, right?
Oh, so I do not pay for advertising. I have a 4 week wait list and it's TikTok exclusive. Other than this beautiful moment right now.
Yep, that's why I was so lucky that I got you over here. So what is, can you help me out and remind me like what's all your TikTok username, all that stuff, so anyone who does want to jump over to join you over where you are most active to see like all your cool, because I was starting to go through your feed and binge watch all your little videos. So I was like, ooh.
It's all the same. Emprima for all social, other than Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Clubhouse, YouTube.
So are
Emprima.
you're still jumping on, how often are you jumping on Clubhouse? Oh, zero. Okay.
Yeah, my community, my family, my TikTok family is like so supportive. I have no need to go anywhere else.
I love that so much. I'm so happy for you. All right. So what's next? What are you like? Does somebody work on you? Do you have your own quantum healer, quantum coach that helps you through? Or are you to the point where you're like, nah, I got this by myself now. Like I'm pretty solid.
I've tried looking for mentors. I genuinely have tried looking for mentors, and I'm having a difficult time finding people that have a clue what I'm talking about. So I've just figured it out on my own for the most part. With some help. Like I can't say that I did it 100% by myself, but I would say 85%.
Yep. Yep. No, I love that though. And then was it all just, I mean, aside from waking up during, and this all coming online for you on deployment, when did you actually start to like, okay, this is settling into my body, this is settling into my nervous system, my belief system that this is all happening, and you're able to like really like nail down like, one, I'm not crazy, because that's huge, right? Like
Huge.
beyond, once you get past the point of, okay, this shit's really happening and like it actually is working and helping people, and then it's like that goes and that ripples and ripples. Like, was that fast for you? Did you accept that?
I, there were a couple points in the beginning of my journey. Like during my deployment, I would have these. I say they were voices, but they weren't. It was like energy pushing me. So I would say like they were telling me to go left, but they weren't telling me in an auditory where I could feel like my shoulders being moved.
Yep.
In the chow hall, and when we would go to eat, it would be like the buffets, and then there'd be one side of the chow hall, and then a wall, and then the other side. So there'd be tables, and a wall to separate left from right. And I would go to turn toward my friends, and I would feel like, and I'm just standing there with my tray, like a grown woman, like grown-ass adult. I'm like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. Who knows what I look like having these conversations? And I would go and I would sit with people and not even think anything of it. And then, and genuinely just thought I was crazy, right? Like at the moment, I know I'm not crazy, but there's moments where you're like, okay, maybe I'm a little crazy. Maybe I'm just like a little crazy.
Right.
And fast forward a year, 2 years, 3 years later, up until maybe a year and a half ago, I had no idea what impact I had until people would like hug me and like, oh my gosh, Sergeant Emprima, I missed you and you weren't there when we came back. And because I exited, my contract ended right after my deployment. So I wasn't there to continue. I just kind of deployed and took off. And so they were like, I went looking for you and I couldn't find you and I missed you and you were so right. And the advice you gave me, and like, I had no like recollection because it was, to me, it wasn't significant.
Yeah. It's through you. It's, yeah, that happens often where I'm like, I said that to you, sorry, or I hope it helped.
Great wisdom.
So what kind of, can you, or whatever you feel comfortable sharing with, what types of stuff you help clients through? And because I thought it was very interesting, and I don't want to say certain keywords that will get like, Instagram doesn't, but certain sicknesses or things that I remember like, oh my God, I remember you doing call outs for like, hey, if you are sick with this, this, or this, like, so what happens with all of those? Or like what kind of stuff are you finding? Like, do you get like bulks of people who come in for like one type of thing all at once and you're working with this, or is it everything? Or
you get that too? Or it's like 3 weeks, it'll just be, so I'm going to say the word, but I'm going to add letters on both sides. Okay. So grapes. If you take out the G and S, right? I had for like 2 months straight people having no memory and then uncovering the memory during my sessions, and I'm like, what is this?
That's wild.
And then alien abductions last July for it was like 10 days, about 5 sessions, just alien abduction. and I get them in, I'll get a new tool that does a
Yep.
particular function, and then I suddenly have all these clients that happen to reschedule, book, or delay getting in, all using that tool.
Yep, that makes so much sense. Okay, so it's really funny that you bring up, not funny, haha, but funny, ironic that you bring up those two exact things because I'm listening to Dolores Cannon, The Custodians, right now, and the chapter I was listening to on the way home was literally
That's all Dolores right there.
this section of the audiobook where she said, yeah, I went to, some client went to a psychologist and he tried to tell her that they had hidden, sexual trauma that they didn't remember. And then they jumped straight into like the alien abduction chapter. Like, so that's so funny that you just like totally boop, boop.
Yeah.
I love Dolores
It,
Cannon too, like all her stuff. I haven't even made it through all the books yet, but
dude, and some, like people are like, I'm gonna read all the books. I'm like, no, you're not gonna read all the books. You think you're gonna read all the books, right, like in a row? You're gonna take 10 years reading all these books because that's what a smart person does.
because yeah, so even me, I'm like, I'm listening through audiobook, but I'm sure at some point I'm gonna get paperback and like actually reread it through.
I'm gonna show you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
This is how I read her books. I don't know if you can see.
Oh yeah, it's like a Bible. Totally.
Oh yeah, yeah. So like, I am going to research the crap out of this. I am going to catalog this. I am going to memorize this because this is like, this is this is the instruction manual for what I do.
Absolutely. And it's like the and I just had my first past life regression, like a real one done a couple weeks or like a week and a half ago too. And so she did the QHHT. And so it was not surprising when non-human things were coming out and like unfolding and unpacking all of these different things. And so the further I get into like the custodians and the more like I think I have the life or one of her between life or not, I keep getting them confused, but it's one of her other ones that's just like a standalone. Um, and it's just fucking fascinating because it's like resonates and just wild because you hear all these other people that have experiences like yours or feeling like, oh my God, yeah, I've had that in a dream before, or I've had a download like that, or I've seen stuff when I've tuned into other people's energy. So there's times where like I can, if I'm just tuning into them, where I can see their human life, their life as, as Annie right now. And then it's like
Yeah.
if I go deeper, I can see the life behind Annie and like the puppet master almost, or like the person filling. And so it's like sometimes that shit is what's weird to me where I'm like, ooh, I see a bunch of blah 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 blah, and then this is how the energy moves through you, and then this is da 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 da. So I'm sure. What's some crazy stuff that you can share that you like blew your mind, or that you maybe very memorable? Memorable. There we go.
Well, back in 2019, I was doing QHHT. Now I don't do it. I don't need to.
Yeah.
Like people go into a trance kind of standing on a stool or they're, like this. But because I have such a background in psychology, I want people to train their mind to bend reality and to accept, even if we accept it as virtual reality, to bend what is possible. Because now we're tying in neuroscience. And so when I'm working with clients, I want them to have that, I want the consciousness to be there and to be a participant in the journey.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not someone that's going to receive the mind.
That makes sense.
But went back in 2019, I had a client during like, when you're a practitioner, you kind of have to do 50 for free.
Yeah.
And she was like number 3. So I was like, oh shit. And she was talking of course, like talking from the subconscious, which like really boosted my ego because I'm like, damn, I'm getting them that deep this soon. And then it wasn't quite that deep after, but my ego got deflated. And she was big. We are so proud of you. And my windows were rattling.
Holy shit! I got goosebumps.
It was like, damn, I'm good.
They're all, hold up, wait. Which you are. You're freaking amazing. Yeah. But it's so funny because it's like we all have to start like, no, same thing too. Like where for a minute I thought I was actually controlling things, and then I realized Like, I'm not controlling shit. Literally, the information's going to come through, whether the information's going to come through or not. I'm just the one that has to speak the words or say what I see. But like, I thought I was doing something. I really did. It's like, I got this. I got this. And someone like, Bear's like, sure, sure, sure. um,
Another one that really surprised me was when, like, I had gone to my campus. So I have this quantum training campus where I take people to train. But before July 1st of last year, it was just me. I couldn't. It wasn't open to the public. I couldn't take clients
your
there.
quantum campus.
My quantum campus.
Okay. So just to clarify, quantum campus is like the place where you built that you can go in your meditative state-ish dimension?
No, I can take you just like this. I've got videos on YouTube of people looking right at me, talking to me. They're sipping, and they're like, "I'm there," and you can feel the energy like moving.
Yeah.
So
I have
the first time
already. So
the first time I was working with a client who had some heart issues that it was affecting her spine, and she's like, "I think we're on a spaceship. And there's people that don't look like people." And I'm like, are we having quantum surgery right now? Is this happening? Is this really happening? Like, fuck, this is happening.
Yep. Yep.
And then that started the journey. I was like, well, if I can do it once, I can continue to do it. And now I consciously take people there knowing what to expect. But before, we just did it without me knowing how I did it.
Yep. You're like, and we're here.
And we're here. I got this. I read the books. I read the manuals. I studied the shit.
Hold on. What page is it? What page is it?
No,
search.
No joke. I have an Excel spreadsheet that is cataloged. Like give me any topic, and if it's in the book, and if I've tabbed it, it's like, okay, alien abductions. All the books that I've read that cover alien abductions, because darn it, I am going to understand how this works in a triangulated way.
So what have you grasped from all that? Because that's mainly what the custodians is about, like that are people recollecting, these different stories and piecing together what actually happened. And it's kind of fascinating to me to like listen to their experiences. So.
And everyone, our databases, our minds with the lexicon of words that we have available to us to use, we describe such similar things but so differently because our experiences shape how we translate.
Yep.
And so the more stories I get.
So, dude, I love it. It's so, I don't get to talk to people every single day about this stuff. I mean, I have my core group of friends and we're like, because we deal with all kinds of weird stuff, weird stuff. What do you ever dream or get other downloads or anything after you've worked with clients of like different pieces of information that might come through later on? Or are you like very open and shut once you're done, you're done with working with the client and you don't have, because sometimes I'll get like visitations from their loved ones or weird stuff that kind of lingers afterwards where I'm like, okay, but
no. And I was aware that was a possibility. So what I did was I already put up the wall that said, if you want to come in and speak to your living loved one and you've crossed over, you can ring my doorbell, and it like right where my finger is kind of behind me is where I hear it, feel it. And that tells me to let them know. And then I open their energy line so that they can speak to their loved one directly, because I don't want to be bombarded. And I hear so many mediums where they're like, I'm just walking in a restaurant. Nope, here's my rule. You want to come in with a client I'm working with, you ring the doorbell, I'll open the door in their house.
That makes sense. Okay. That actually helps too. Cause I know I've set up my quantum area is like a club. And so like there's a bouncer, you got to check ID. There's a spotlight.
You have to be invited.
Yeah. There's a spotlight stage that they can come up to. But yeah, Good to know. Okay, so what else? I keep on hearing also to like bring up how you've helped a lot of people with like PTSD and other,
Mental health
yep, yep,
disorders.
yep. So how does that work? How to,
With all of the studies that I've done with psychology, and I'm not a clinical therapist, so I'm coming from positive psychology, the impact of optimism on well-being. When I look at the psychology and the neurology and the neuroscience of who we are, when we look at disorders of the mind, one, we have to recognize, like Dr. Bessel van der Kolk talks about, the body keeps the score, that the trauma doesn't always sit in the mind, it sits in the body.
correct.
And the body is going to treat it very differently. So when we look at disorders of the mind, we have to acknowledge that of mind, body, spirit, the energy current, the electricity, the neurons that are active in our nervous system, they carry messages through the fascia, through the spine, that the mind, when healing, we have to acknowledge the nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
They go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
So healing is always at least two of the three. So when we look at mind, body, spirit, when I look at physical health and spiritual health, so the nervous system and the physical and the organs or whatever, or it's the mind in the body, or it's the spirit in the mind, we healing has to have dance partners.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the most efficient way to heal, is with dance partners.
Oh, I love that so much. Yeah, the whole like, my big thing is always keeping the nervous system at bay. Like I have to keep my nervous system calm, and in any way, shape, or form that I can do that. Because one, it helps me determine what's mine and what's not mine. And then the second thing being like, if I know my nervous system is my gauge for what I'm feeling, and whether it's like someone else's energy, dead or alive, you know, whatever, it's energy. It's just like that, like you said, it's just like the wall that separates, right? It's knowing, okay, this is my energy when I'm at neutral level, and then I can tell when it's being encroached upon, or you know, things need to move through. Like yesterday, I had to move a lot of things through my body, and I had to sweat things out, I had to cry, I had to like push things viscerally out. And then it was like, okay,
yeah, that release,
there we go, that's what I needed, like a child, right? So during, sorry, there's like a loud truck outside. When you were working with clients who have maybe like chronic ailments or something like that, can you see like if do how do I want to word this? Are they allowed to know certain information, or do you ever see that certain information is withheld or blocked off, unable for them to access themselves?
Very rarely do I see something. I Very rarely do I see something, and I'll get the energetics or that visual hush.
Okay.
Like, we're giving you the information so you know what direction to go in, but they're not ready to hear it.
Got it.
But I'm hacking into their system. So if they've come to me, their mind, body, and spirit, all three I have a full consensus. So when I do come across blocks, like especially with like dissociative identity disorder or amnesia, trauma amnesia,
Oh yeah.
I go to scan that part of the body and there's no data. So when I scan, think of it like a magnetic bounce. So I'm scanning, I'm like, I get the bounce, I get the bounce, I get the bounce. I might feel a little road bump, and I'm like, okay, something's stuck there because I got that little hiccup. The energy is not fluid. But when I get to a section and I can feel my energy going around it, like diverting, like, something's hiding right here. And then if we try to go in and we still can't get in, and we can't give it some extra attention and raise the vibration of that space and still not get any, what I call like data reporting, it's just not online, then I know that the mind has compartmentalized the trauma and the body is hiding it.
That's wild. But that makes total sense. Yeah, because there's times I've done readings and the mind, it'll just go blank for me. And I'm like, I don't feel anything, I don't see anything. I don't like, I'm sorry, I don't know. But that actually helps thinking of it that way with like, because I'll do a mental body scan with people. Um,
Yeah.
or if they're laid out, if I'm like practicing Reiki or something, because I'm still really new at this lifetime for Reiki,
Yeah.
but using and trying to feel and then like what feels off, what feels inflamed, what feels blocked. And then also, as soon as people start telling me, like, oh, I have this, this, and this wrong with me, immediately I can hear the question pop up. Well, if they're like, oh, this hurts, it's like, okay, well, who's bothering you or whatever, or what's going on with the grief, or it's like, it's weird because it's almost like intuitively just knowing what connects to what in the body. And I see it like the little chords, almost like the cause and effect, or the as above, so below type thing, or
Let me see if I can show you a picture.
I want to
Everything
go
in
over
the
and read books.
spine.
Can we do book reading?
Everything.
Can we just like
I don't know if you want to read this one. This is anatomy and physiology of the
beautiful?
nerve.
We could read it at bedtime and go to sleep.
This is my bedtime reading. But if you look at how the veins run in the body and the nerves run in the body,
Ooh, yeah.
every tooth links to an organ, every vertebrae in the spine links to an organ. And so if we think of the brain as being the metropolis and the spine is the major highway out of the city, and then you've got the side, the smaller highways, and then you've got the suburbs of the fascia, and you follow the veins and you follow the nervous system, you find your answer. So when someone's side of their mouth is hurting, it's like, okay, which
Yeah.
tooth? Follow that nerve line down to the organ it correlates with.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like,
I
oh.
actually did that with my skin, because I was
Mm-hmm.
like, what, like the breakouts on my skin, and I was like, okay, what's this, what organ is this tied to? I remember I think it was like the face mapping. Is it like the I don't know if it's like Chinese, I don't know, but I remember specifically like, okay, this is gut area, this is gut, this is
Mm-hmm.
hormones, and then tying also and go, okay, well, what's the gut about? What's the gut tied into emotionally? What are my hormones tied into emotionally? What am I not pushing through, or not, or even
Not digesting, not letting go.
yep, or like sugar, like binging sugar. Okay, well, where am I lacking sweetness in my life that my body is craving, trying to tell me I need something sweet, or whatever, I have seen that kind of stuff come up in different client sessions. I just am so fascinated with like how you do it, because everyone does it differently.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I love how structured yours is, like your method of working with people is, because it takes, like how you said, if they just want to dip their toes in and they're not super spiritual or they're not this, it's still very, very efficient. They don't have any conflict of belief system, because it's like, it's just their body, right?
It's honoring, yeah.
Yeah.
And I tie science in as much as I can, because it's hard to, science is irrefutable. Our understanding of it's going to be ever evolving, but it's really hard to make it woo-woo when you've got data that supports the neuroscience.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have an entire branch of psychology based on optimism. Like you can't argue the power of optimism when there's an entire branch of psychology based on it.
Oh, that's amazing. So how can people find you and work with you and get a consultation? What's the process?
If they go into the link in my bio, that'll bring them to a service page. I think I can show it from my website.
Okay. And is it just what's the website, the web address itself?
It's
I'm gonna probably
one Emprima.
put this onto YouTube once it's done.
If they go to one Emprima, and I'll show here, let me see, switch it.
And spell out, it's ONE, yeah?
Yep. So it's the ONE of the one, and then my last name, so it'll look at.
I didn't know that was your last name. That's so funny. I didn't know that's why it was called that.
Oh, yeah. There's just one of me. Literally, there's one Emprima in the United States. So there's the website.
Yep, there we go.
Yep. So if they come to in Instagram, they get this page.
Okay.
If they go TikTok, because I do so many lives, TikTok has its own page.
Yeah.
But it's start with the discovery session. Let me go back. The discovery session this is the one that this is the beginning of every story, should be the discovery session. This is where I get to open the lines, the energy lines, take a look and see if I'm even a good fit, because, I may not be the best modality for what the individual has going on, or they may need special services and amenities that I have to add on to the package to be able to help them in the greatest way possible.
I love it. I love it. And Annie, I have to ask because I'm also an astrology junkie. Have you ever run your birth chart to see like your placements of how you're so like where this falls into your chart? Or may I ever have the privilege of doing that for you where I can like geek out and show you how your human is built for what you're doing?
Yeah, oh no, it's closed. My vault is closed. I'd say I have it. I have no idea what I'm looking at because it's not my.
It's
I don't know how.
a
It's a
language.
foreign language.
I got you. Okay. Because I just find it really, really fascinating. Anybody who does psychological work, spiritual work, anything of the mind transformation, I always like to see like their Pluto placements or what their midheaven or any of these things of like, especially because of how you built your quantum university. I'm like, okay, are those like Virgo placements or where's she got like a Jupiter here? Like I'm already in my head computing, like, I wonder how she's built, but in my language. Cool. Well, we went a little bit over on time. I'm so sorry. So it's about 6:37. Is there anything else that because I can just sit here and I can chit chat, and I want to hear all the stories basically. So I don't want to keep you all night, but is there anything else that you want to talk about and touch on that you feel is really important that you've either learned in your journey or that you can help people who maybe even thinking about like what the hell is quantum healing? Like, can this even work for me? Um,
So what I do is really good for people who have control issues because we're not punishing the mind. So if they watch my videos on YouTube, I do a lot of shorts. It's pretty broad. So I go from like, well, how do we integrate the final alter in dissociative identity disorder to like, what does it look like? So I took Ro recently up to the campus and she did her light language. So we go from trauma to let's go play in the big sandbox um, and so I have a couple videos on there now of people just going to the sandbox and playing. So like we think of trauma so much with quantum healing, but we don't think of quantum playing. And there's a giant sandbox to play in of let's go find out what your tools are, your energy tools, your strengths, and let me go show you. We'll grab some quantum teachers, quantum coaches, quantum masters to show you what this should look like, and then go back and practice for the next 20 years.
Dude, I love this. I wrote that down so that I can start working on my quantum playing because you're right. There's so many things that I've gone into healing my past, healing my traumas, and there needs to be a switch at some point where it's like, okay, how much healing needs to get done? Obviously, it's ever whatever.
But at some point, we have to let go of the healing. Like you have to trust that you're going to heal naturally. Once you get to 80%, trust that you're naturally going to heal as you progress forward anyway. So before 80, you're spiritually bypassing. After 80, you're anchoring to trauma when you don't need to.
Damn, that's true. Oh, I'm so grateful for you, Annie. So if anybody, please go follow her on TikTok. You got to go watch all her TikTok videos. And then you said you uploading to YouTube as well. Are those different than the TikTok videos?
Yes, because some of them are like 1 to 2 hours long. The TikTok's, obviously limited to 3 minutes, but I might do a 2-hour healing session, a group healing, and then the YouTube viewers can go and watch that healing, and it's not as intense.
Yeah.
But it is beneficial.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you. Appreciate you. And if we can ever host a group healing session, is that something where people jump on for free and donate, or do they pay for a ticket and jump on, or is it just like free for all?
Yep. Group healing is free. If they want personalized, they have to join the intermediate group healing private sessions that I do. It's $200 a month, okay. 8 sessions. And it's personalized, so it's 5 to 6 people, and I'm like, okay, I see your knee problem, I see your elbow problem, let's get the block out of your throat,
Yep.
but I can't do that in the group because there's just too many people. Like it's like where's Waldo
Oh,
trying to fish in a sea of 150 people. I can't do it.
oh, I love it. So next time you or do you have them on certain days or schedule? Like how, or is it just whenever?
Yeah, I'm like, I have a burst of energy. I'll go do a healing.
Okay. Well,
But if they follow me, they'll get notified.
okay. So that was my next question is like, so how the hell do I get notified so that I can jump in on? Because even just sitting at your house and doing group meditation and pushing the energy around the entire room and even just like I compared your house and your network of people. I was like, we were at a superhero meeting. Like literally this lady's over here, like I talk to angels, and then this one's like, yeah, I talk to dead people, and then this one's like, yeah, I do QHHT, and it's just like,
What?
hey, hi, like look at all these people behind these humans, like so very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Annie. I appreciate you. And big hugs your way. And hopefully I get to see you in person soon. And I actually thought about you because I ate taco terrian today. And that's the first time I ever had it at your house too, was vegan tacos. And I was like, okay, this is not that. This is actually freaking delicious.
Right?
So everything lined up today, knowing that I was going to connect with you. So I appreciate you. I'll get this saved onto my Instagram, and then probably in the next couple days, I'll download and throw onto YouTube, or and I can throw into Google Drive too, in case you wanted to throw it on any of your stuff as well. Um, what else?
Just tag me in, create a playlist so that people can go watch it.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So thank you again, and hopefully thank you for whoever else jumped on. Sorry, I was not even like reading the comments. I was actually focused in on your face so hard because it's like you're like a tunnel. Like once I'm locked into your eyes, it's like everything else is just like so. All right. Have a fantastic evening, and I hope the rest of your weekend goes well. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.